Please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Donald John Trump, do solemnly swear.
I, Donald John Trump, do solemnly swear.
That I will faithfully execute.
That I will faithfully execute.
The office of President of the United States.
The office of President of the United States.
We have been given a gift by God today to usher in a new dynasty.
Now you get RFK Jr.
Don't you want a president who's going to make America healthy again?
You get Tulsi Gabbard.
Putting our country in a continual state of war.
You get Elon Musk and you get J.D. Vance.
A hell of a way to start the next 4 years.
The right-wing Avengers.
We have an army of digital soldiers.
Department of Defense under Donald Trump will achieve peace through strength.
Shut down the FBI Hoover building on day one.
The rescission of 78 Biden-era executive actions, executive orders, presidential memoranda, and others.
The golden age of America has most definitely begun.
Begin preparing the 30,000-person migrant facility at Guantanamo Bay.
They're getting the dirt bags off these streets.
There's one guy who can fix this shit, and it's Donald Trump.
What's storm, Mr. President?
You'll find out.
They build their thrones on silence, a prison made of lies, a war inside our spirit, a veil across our eyes. They turn our thoughts to weapons, they sold our souls as gold, but truth was in the shadows, waiting to unfold. Whispers grew into a storm, the cracks were breaking through, the mind became the battlefield and hope became the truth. Rise from the ashes, the war of the mind, breaking the chains, they wrapped us inside, from dark into dawn, from blind into sight. We are the fire, the great holy fight. Rise of the many, the fall of the few, the old God is trembling, their reign is through. Humanity's cold and our souls will be free. This is the awakening, rise of the free. They wage with words and silence, with screams and fear and shame. They try to kill the question, but questions burn like flame. The stories they constructed collapse before our eyes, for truth is not a victim, it never truly dies. The sleeper now is waking, the world begins to roar. No chains can bind the rising tide, we're slaves of mind no more. Rise from the ashes, the war of the mind, breaking the chains, they wrapped us inside, from dark into dawn, from blind into sight. We are the fire, the great holy fight. Rise of the many, the fall of the few, the old God is trembling, their reign is through. Humanity's calling, our souls will be free. This is the awakening, rise of the free. The war was never spoken, it raged in thought and scream, but armies born of silence have risen, have been seen. Every lie has met its end, every shadow lost its crown. The light of man is breaking in, the walls are falling down. Rise from the ashes, the war of the mind, breaking the chains, they wrapped us inside, from dark into dawn, from blind into sight. We are the fire, the great holy fight. Rise of the many, the fall of the few, the old God is trembling, their reign is through. Humanity's calling, our souls will be free. This is the awakening, rise of the free. Dark to light, night to dawn, the slaves of the mind.
Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are in the world. My name is Josh, and welcome to the Red Pill Project's Daily Dose, live with you Monday through Friday. And I hope everybody is doing well out there, having a great day and a great start to their week. I was like, maybe it's Thursday. I don't know. It is Tuesday. It is only Tuesday. And tonight we have DEF CON 0, myself, Alpha Warrior, and tonight the ghost of Patrick Henry will be joining us. And it's going to be an interesting conversation, so I hope that you guys can join us immediately after this show. So, well, not immediately. Depends on how long I go, right? Depends on if I go till 10:30, then I guess it's going to be immediately after the show. Am I going to go an hour and a half? I don't know. We'll see. I sometimes need a little break in between, so we'll see how long we go here tonight. Probably just an hour, but I don't want to keep people in too much suspense. So let's just jump into it. You know, it's not a big news day. There is some comms coming on the boards. We'll look at those. Alpha put out a good post today. I don't want to watch his biceps tell the story, so I'll just read it. He posted a video with it, and I don't know if you ever noticed, like, I gotta pick on Alpha. I gotta pick on Alpha. You do. But, like, I don't know if you ever noticed this with Alpha, but, like, he'll put these videos out and his bicep just has to come. Like, but the sleeves got to be up like this, and the biceps got to come out. And so I want people focused on me, not Alpha. So I'm going to read the post. The panicans, pretenders, and fake MAGA are in full-blown TDS, completely losing their minds because they cannot stop MAGA or President Trump. Every single time they think they found a way to subvert the movement, they lose again over and over. Now, the latest psyop from the fake Christians claiming Trump is losing Christian support, false. Many of the ones pushing that narrative are fake Christians and pretend warriors who never supported him to begin with. They wore a MAGA hat as camouflage. Their loyalty has always been to themselves, not America, not to God, not the truth. The MAGA pretenders are simply echoing the talking heads who claim people are leaving Trump, when in reality, those people were never with us. It was always a facade, a scripted design to demoralize the real movement. Meanwhile, Trump continues to dismantle the deep state brick by brick. America is inching closer to full sovereignty, free from globalist control, foreign influence, and corrupt bureaucrats. The jihadi sympathizers, the CCP puppets, and Zionist extremists are all watching their agendas collapse in real time. They thought they were playing checkers, but this was a multi-layered game of chess. All along, the Trump already saw the end game. A lot of truth in what he said there. And, you know, I was going to actually do this part later, but I think it's probably best to bring this part up now. In general, fifth generation warfare is not coming. It is here. Every screen, every search result, every viral story is part of an active contest for influence. Spot on. So the idea that I want you to understand is that there, and I don't mean the quote InfoWars here, but there is a war on your mind, period, hands down. Today's wars are about controlling the narrative. It's about controlling people's minds, influences, and actions. We see this a lot on social media in the perspective of what we talked about, the Alice in Wonderland techniques, you know, confusion and chaos and contradiction is what fills your feeds. And that's done on purpose, and that's done for a reason, whether it's, you know, paid for bots through China, Russia, Qatar, or Israel, or whoever it might be, or whether it's active social influence campaigns that are running against you. It's all meant to do the same thing, to confuse you. So the moment that a glimpse of what conforms to your ideological preference comes in, you latch onto it. And then you become moldable from that point. Then that same message will replicate onto your feed over and over again, and it'll transform into an influence operation. And this isn't new. This has been utilized for a very, very long time. I mean, I was listening to David Whitehead on his show earlier today, and he was talking about the various different cults throughout history. And this is exactly the same different types of techniques that they utilized, is that you confuse people and then you give them levels of clarity through derived truth that conform to ideological preferences. And then from there, you begin to mold in an agenda, a narrative, and then you can control that narrative. And so this is 5th generation warfare, and we have to keep our minds, our eyes absolutely on the ball every day of what is happening. Now, the real vision of what is happening in the world, I think, is much scarier. It's more of a black pill, if you want to understand it fully. I've said this before multiple different times, is that there's 2 competing world orders, right? So what we have in the infrastructure of our current world is what I've said for the longest time. I've done shows on it called the multi-headed Hydra. You have all these various different heads, which are factions. Each faction has an ideology, it has an agenda, it has a narrative it wants to implement. For the longest time, there was a few of these heads that work together, and they can centralize power around the world. Through the guise of the British Empire was the last variation of this, and then during the last 4th turning episode, World War II, they can form this into a world order. The new world order, the old world order, old guard, however you want to perceive it. But they built an economic stronghold, ensuring that they would continuously be in positions of power throughout the next generations. So what Trump has done is he's infiltrated the ranks of a lot of these other factions, and he's began to dismantle them, and he's began to conform a lot of them aligned with him. So when you see like pharmaceutical companies, or Bill Gates, or Qatar, or these types of countries aligning towards Donald Trump, just understand that these are factions that are being severed from their levels of control and now aligning with Donald Trump. Now, that is a black pill for some people. They're like, wait, what, Bill Gates and pharma like aligning with Donald? Oh, yeah. And the reason is because of the mass power and influence that they have over their area of operation, if you want to take it into that context. And like I said before, there's 2 competing world orders. Right now, we're in a war of the roses. So with 2 competing world orders, you have one, the globalist new world order. This is a commie, fascist, authoritarian, totalitarian, oligarchical controlled fucking jumbo fuck of surveillance state, AI, and digital slave prison, right? That's what their whole vision was, and that's what they were setting up. This is the Great Reset. This is Klaus Schwab's 2014 book, the Post-Industrialized World, the 4th Industrial Revolution, to where you own nothing and you're happy about it, and you have a chip within your arm that basically dictates everything on a centralized blockchain, and it's programmable. And if they don't like what you're saying, or if they don't like what you're doing, they can shut it off and you can be turned off from the world. That was the system of control that they were implementing. Right now, we have a 2nd world order that is aligning up, and we call this the sovereign world order. Now, does it mean that it's a sovereign world order? Probably not, because it's still a competitive environment, and there's still nation states and various different factions that are competing for power and control in this. And this is where the aspect of the black pill comes in, because it doesn't matter who's the president of the United States or what they're doing or what bad actors they're taking down, is that evil's always going to exist in this world. And there's a hidden hand behind the scenes of this entire world that is pulling the strings of all sides. Yeah. Whether you want to hear that or not. There is good and there is evil. And there are hidden hands behind the scenes pulling the strings of both sides. And see, everybody's going to get a piece of the pie one way or another. Even though the old guard is being decimated, new factions are rising up in their place. New factions that maybe have the same types of agendas. And they are setting their planks down straight into the ground within this new world that is forming. And so even though we say that's a sovereign world order that's forming, that just means in the context of how the economic and the political systems are going to organize around this global order. But then you have the social construct. Well, the problem with the social construct is that it is continuously under attack and it's easily influenced and manipulated. This is what we're talking about. This is the 5th generation warfare that General Flynn is talking about. The social construct is where the real battle lies. It's not necessarily the political aspect or the economic aspect. The reason why the social aspect is so important is because ultimately the power lies within the people, inherent within inside you. What happens inside your mind, what the words that you generate, the actions you produce, the influences you bring into the world are the most important mechanism on this planet for change. One thing that you have to understand is that if somebody can control that, they can control another person, and they can control another person, they can control another person. And so when you have these competing factions that are rising up in the sovereign world order, you have to understand that every single one of them, the good and the bad, the ones that we perceive good and the ones that we perceive bad, are going to be competing for that control. Why? Because that's what power is all about. That is what the pursuit of power is all about. Power corrupts, and absolute power corrupts absolutely. You know, David Whitehead said a quote today. He said, "I didn't come here to be saved from this experience. I came here for the experience." Man, that was profound. That was absolutely profound when he said that, because you begin to look at things in a different light. And by the way, I highly recommend you guys go to DW Truth Dad, I believe is his X account now. It used to be DW Truth Warrior. But let's go. I want to show you this video that he did. It is on Rumble. So it's Truth Warrior Dad on X. And I highly recommend you go follow David. And I highly recommend you go watch this video that he did earlier today. Okay. It's this one right here, The Occult Roots of Totalitarianism. Absolutely fantastic. He spot on nails it of what is happening in the world today, because it's the same old story, the same playbook that has been utilized for millennia. And it is truly occult in its origin. And I don't talk too much about the occult anymore. The reason is just because I'm just too damn busy talking about everything else. But it is incredibly important to understand this, that there is an occult agenda, what my friend Ben Stewart would call an esoteric agenda on this planet, for control of your minds, for control of your influence and your action. And that all movements grow large to where they become infiltrated. All movements are competing for that moment of time of yours to influence you in some way, shape, or form. It doesn't matter if it's Barack Obama or if it's Donald Trump or if it's Xi Jinping or Bibi Netanyahu. They're all competing for it because they want to construct their own narrative and agenda in the weave of the new global order. And there you go. Nothing new under the sun. Now, why am I telling you this? Well, I'm telling you this because the world is going to change very rapidly and very fast. And the one thing that we have to ensure among ourselves, humanity, the people, is that we stay free. We stay free within the mind, free within the thought, that we're continuously evolving. We're continuously looking at the world as a dynamic state, and that our mind is evolving within that dynamic state. It goes back to Romans 12:2. Do not conform to the patterns of this world, but be transformed by the renewal of your mind. So critically important to understand this, because in 5 years, 6 years, when Donald Trump isn't president anymore, and we get someone new to come in, whether it's J.D. Vance or Marco Rubio or whoever it might be, lots of things can change, and things can change really fast. And the more apathetic that people come, or the more ignorant that people come of the political system, and that will happen again, it becomes worse. Or the complete opposite can happen. The complete opposite being that we could move into extreme nationalism. This movement could be taken to so many different angles, and it could be fueled and incited by that through to the progressive radicalism on the left, or through the radicalization of Islam that is occurring in the United States right now that is rampant. We could have that deviation from the middle to the extreme right very, very fast if we do not continuously check ourselves. and keep our minds on the true prize of this battle, and that's freedom. Hope that wasn't too much of a black pill, because it's the truth. And I think everybody here knows that. I think everybody here understands that, is that love Trump. Love what Trump is doing. I'm 100% pro-America right now. But we have to be cautious. And it's not just necessarily Trump. It's we have to be cautious of all movements, of all people, all positions of power. You know, it was Chase Hughes said something amazing. It was one of the videos that he did on psychological warfare. And he said that you have more in common with the multicolored liberal lefty down the street from you than you do with any billionaire, no matter race, creed, belief structure, or anything. And the reason that comes about is because when you have that hierarchical economic ladder that you climb, billionaires don't think the way we do. Billionaires don't look at the world the way that we do. When we say free speech, they go, yes, I'm absolutely for free speech, but their definition of free speech isn't necessarily your definition of free speech. Think about Elon Musk or Donald Trump's interpretation of free speech. Do you think that they want people protesting their every move with free speech? Standing outside Trump Tower 24 hours a day protesting? Their definition of free speech has limits where yours and mine don't. Their ideas of insider trading is completely different than yours and mine. You and me, we look at it as if you're in a position of power and you set up anybody within your family to make money off of a deal through political action, that's insider trading. That is illegal. That should be illegal. But they don't look at it that way. Tell me why, and I'll give you a prime example of this. Tell me why Jared Kushner, after securing a multi-billion-dollar deal in Qatar, was the one picked by the Trump administration to go and negotiate the Hamas deal. It's kind of interesting. And he's in real estate. Who do you think is going to get the contracts through Qatar to rebuild Gaza? Now, is Jared Kushner, on the political sense, the right man to go in there? Yeah, he has all the relationships. He's got good friend relationships in Qatar with all the people over there. He's got good friend relationships on Israel. He knows both sides. He understands the geopolitical nature of the situation, the sociological construct of the situation. So he is a perfect candidate for that. But then he's benefiting on the back end. I don't agree with that. I know you don't agree with it. But that's how it happened. So when we start to understand that, yes, we are part of a movement that is an amazing, great movement. It is probably one of the largest movements this world has ever seen, and probably one of the most powerful movements this world has ever seen. Be careful with it. Handle it gently. The reason I say that is because it can easily swing against us very, very fast. And see, that's what Alpha was saying to the Panicans and the Never MAGAs. We already know that there's infiltration within our movement. We already know that there's people in our movement that would absolutely enslave us if they had the opportunity to. There's people in the Republican Party that aren't really Republicans, whether they're rhinos or whether they're just wearing a mask. We have to look at the world for what it truly is that people in positions of power will all absolutely always thrive for more power and to try to implement their agenda. Every single one of them is a competitor trying to take first place. Their ideas, their philosophies are the ones that matter to them. It's not necessarily the group collective think. The group collective think is the movement itself. And see, whoever leads that movement now gets to implement the new level of collectivism within that movement. And trust me, it takes off very, very fast. It happens very, very fast. Movements are incredibly dangerous. I hate to say it like that. How do you think we took back the idea of information? How do you think that we took back the media? We did it through movement warfare. We did it because a movement was started and generated, and there was a repetitive echo chamber of fake news. Fake news. Don't trust the mainstream media. Don't trust the mainstream media. At the same time, an information campaign came out that sought for you, me, Christians, patriots, conspiracy theorists, to collaborate together, to dig up the truth, to connect the dots, to pearl string the narrative. And that's what we did. And in the midst of that, it formulated together the perfect storm to take back the media. Abide it did. But here's the thing is we can't be complacent within that level. We can't be complacent in this movement. We can't be complacent in this world. And this is why I say to you is be active towards your dreams of what you want to see in the world. Don't slow down. Don't think that Trump has this all under control. Don't think that Trump is going to magically bring peace to the world and we're all just getting a hoorah and I didn't even have to lift a finger. That's not how this works. You are the movement. We are the movement. This is how it works. We, the people, have to be that base of power. We, the people, have to be that voice. We, the people, have to be that action that brings about and promulgates change. We cannot give that power or authority up to anybody above us, especially any one single person or a single entity to deliver that for us. And how powerful is the voice of this movement? How many companies have we canceled? How many rebrandings have we stopped to go back to normalcy? It's pretty interesting, isn't it? We have a big voice. We have lots of power. What happens when MAGA speaks up and writes their congressmen and senators? We stop legislation in its tracks. But on the same note, go back to the Charlie Kirk assassination. That same movement produced charliesmurderers.com, which was going out there and taking anybody who said anything negative about Charlie Kirk and putting their names on a website with their social media. That's a Blockleiter. In Nazi Germany, the Blockleiter was who reported to the Gestapo, which the Gestapo kept paper lists of all the descendants. And then when the Nazis started implementing powers of control, those were the first people targeted. So it can happen that fast. And it's up to you and me and everybody in this movement to make sure that we stay on the winning side, that we stay towards that idea of freedom, towards that idea of free markets, towards that idea of a constitutional republic, of representative democracy. Because if we don't, it can easily be taken away. All right, I'm going to step down from my diatribe, okay? It's what happens when I listen to David Whitehead. It gets me thinking, man, and I gotta bring it out. I gotta say it. So we're doing a new show on Sunday nights, Q After Hours. This Sunday, something very interesting happened. And if you're an OG here to the channel, you remember this used to happen all the time. I really hadn't been paying attention to it. I want you to listen to a little bit of this. Listen to the revelation of what we see here, okay? Now I'm going to show you some things.
Experts said it couldn't be done. The haters said Trump would start World War III, but MAGA knew all along that if anyone could pull this off, it would be DJT. He's a poet. He doesn't even know it. Yeah, dude, I think... I think just
43 after.
On its face, right? Let's see, it posted it.
So to give you a little context, Scavino posted the wing of Air Force One at 43 minutes after midnight. Now, this was interesting because I was literally just a few minutes before this. I pulled up Donald Trump's tweet on X where he announced that Dan's going to be taking over the personnel office at the White House in charge of all hiring and firing. And this correlates directly at the timestamp 43. So this is the first sign.
It said at 12:43.
Now, what's interesting about that is yesterday morning, Trump posted at 12:43 at Paul's 43. The Scavino post that's the one I read earlier. The core focus removing entrenched and fortified bad actors within the federal government,
matching them up
simply and be vigilant. Okay, and then at any military
Dude, I got
scheme
goosebumps, bro.
Yeah,
I have goosebumps right now, man.
Freaking wild, dude. Yeah, I think they're up of Israel Palestine going on right at the same time. Well, especially where there's a free Palestine.
Let me get to the next part because this gets a lot better. Oh no, there it is. This is where it gets good. Listening, we love you, my man.
Guts to hate Trump.
He's gonna be fine. Keep doing what you guys are doing and talk about it. Bring the awareness, but he's gonna be fine. He's insulated.
It's Air Force One, so it goes back to the ultimate Air Force One post. Now, what's also interesting, okay, and I can go on forever about this, but I just saw this. So number one is Kirill Dmitriev. I don't know if people ever notice this, but he always posts the white dove in his postings.
Oh, that's cool. And look,
because Scavino's post right there
has the white dove.
Has the white dove. And we were just talking about Kirill Dmitriev, like moments before all this happened. And by the way, Dan Scavino posted this like literally right after we were talking about a 40,000 foot view post.
Yeah. Yeah, if Alpha, if you want to bring it up real quick.
I got it right here.
Yeah, okay, yeah. Yeah, it's got the white dove. And we started this off. And we started this off talking about pictures from the airplane and the link.
Like they're watching Q After Hours on Air Force One flying to the Middle East. Donald Trump, President, if you are listening, we love you, my man. Our prayers are with you, brother.
Yes.
Our prayers are with you.
We are definitely fans.
Phenomenal real-time catch on that one, Brad. That is just...
So someone put it in the chat. I think Sunstone said you should go... Scavino just posted.
Here comes the sun.
I was like, I gotta check this out.
Wait, I was just talking about the sun.
Oh shit.
Dude, no fucking way. They are fucking with us here.
I love it, dude. I love it, man.
Dude, hold on. I was just talking about the sun's transit on December 21st.
Yep.
To December 25th. He just posted this not even 20 seconds ago.
That's wild.
Dude.
Yeah. This is the best part, dude. This is what we've been waiting for,
this
right?
This is what live shows are about.
You about all the roller coaster.
Okay. So this is where the part I want to talk
October
about.
28th, 2017, right? Oh, even before that, that it would have a triumphant.
So Alpha comes in here.
Appreciate it. And again, we're trying to tell everybody, that X is this new platform.
Go back a little bit.
Some of the anxiety that a lot of us have. So just drop the word safe in there.
Right there.
Be greatly appreciated. And again,
Alpha asked for the word safe. So this is crazy. So I broke this down yesterday a little bit, right? And we went into it. We were talking about it. If you look at the mirrored version, because you have the two wings side by side, so you mirror that, it's 35. Trump is well insulated above Air Force One and abroad. And then this morning, when they arrived back in D.C., what do we get? From Donald Trump, heading back home to a very safe and beautiful Washington, D.C., right after Alpha asked for it. I don't know about you. I don't believe in coincidences. I thought that was one of the coolest damn things in the world. The fact or idea that Dan Scavino opened up Rumble, opened up Q After Hours and was watching it and just like, let's fuck with these guys. Let's screw with them. Now, would they be watching your show? I think I know who you are, and I honestly don't like your negativity. There's a person watching me on X, and this person never has anything good to say. They're always just talking bullshit. And so, you know what, dude? Go fuck off. I'm just done with it. See ya. Goodbye. All right. So let's get into some other comms that we saw. I'm also going to talk about some of these on DEF CON. Ronald McDonald activated. What does that all mean? All right. So Scavino, this was interesting. What a journey, posted at 1:35 a.m. We have Donald Trump scooping the fries at McDonald's. What a journey. Now, count the characters with the emojis. WHAT, period, A, period, JOURNEY, period. Emoji, 17 characters. I love it.
Do something bad to us.
If you remember the video,
put on notice, if you fuck around with us, if you do something bad to us, we are going to do things to you that have never been done before.
The forgotten men and women of our country will be forgotten no longer. 2024 is our final battle. They stole our jobs and they plundered our wealth. The future does not belong to globalists. The future belongs to patriots.
The activation word, Ronald McDonald.
We will drive out.
The activation word, Ronald McDonald. That's what we mean when we're talking about this. And that's a dilly video, but it was one that was also posted by the Trump administration. So Ronald McDonald activated. Up next, Jerome Powell and the Federal Reserve post 135 central banks list. And so you go in there and it's a complete list of all the central banks. Count the characters in the post. What a journey. McDonald's fries, America flag 17. This to me is an indication that Trump's next focus is going to be the economy. It's going to be economics. It's going to be the Federal Reserve. So Jerome Powell news did come out today. Two different people competing for Fed Reserve chair. I don't like either one of them. I think that Donald Trump needs to get rid of the Fed, completely end it. Give a massive hit to the central banks and just say, you know what, Fed? Listen, dude, we really don't need you. We got a sovereign wealth fund that's coming up. We got a strategic Bitcoin reserve. We're going to go out there. We're just going to loan digital currency stable coins, and we're going to go completely around you. And really, this is how you get rid of the Fed, is going around them with borrowing money through stable coins, through different types of money, which they can do through House Joint Resolution 192. 192, I'm pretty sure it is. And they can go around the Federal Reserve and take out loans, but Federal Reserve controls that. So I think that whoever the next Fed chairman that comes in is going to massively reduce it, allow an audit, and this will actually lead to the end of the Fed. I think that possibly could happen within the next year or so. Dan Scavino on X. And, I love the way that Dan Scavino operates because he's always just dripping. It takes a level of coordination to do this. He goes, 2:54 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time. President Trump is wheels down on the south lawn of the White House after returning from the historic trip to Israel and Egypt. Peace is the prize. And he posted this at 2:11. But he says 2:54 right here. Or sorry, posted at 3:11. So, Dan, the things we noticed. Dan posted at 3:11 a.m., marks the time at 2:54 a.m., a 17-minute difference. I'm sure that's just a coincidence. Today, Donald Trump with a post. All 20 hostages are back and feeling as good as they can be expected. A big burden has been lifted, but the job is not done. The dead have not been returned as promised. Phase 2 begins right now, DJT. Phase 2. Economy today, unemployment today. Today, trade today. China phase 2 held accountable. Stalled China, U.S.-China trade phase 2. Buy China time, prevent loss of billions. Locked a new agreement. What happened this last weekend? China pulling back all rare earth minerals and metals from the world stage. Basically need direct approval through the CCP in order to get them. This is massive, saying that it is a military and defense decision that is based upon the People's Liberation Army. So with this being happening, Trump did not announce that he's going to be meeting with Xi Jinping in Korea next week. What's interesting about that is phase 2, no coincidences. Right here, you have the zero hedge post. Trump warns old a very, very unfortunate phase 2 if North Korea sanctions fail. So he's going to Korea to talk to China. And what did he warn over the other day? Very, very bad things are going to happen if this does not happen. So interesting bit of words. He's talking about, I believe, the economy. I think he's talking about China specifically. Now, what's happening in China that we have to pay attention to here? Xi Jinping most likely is not in control and not calling the shots anymore. He has been replaced, and Li Zhuangguang is the one, the second premier, is who is actually controlling the CCP and the PLA. Xi Jinping is just a stand-in, nothing more than a stable boy just standing there until they get him removed. Now, does he still have power? Yes, but I think it's being dwindled. The CCP is completely different than how the United States of America actually operates. And power can be easily centralized behind a new backer, and that premier can actually be removed very quickly. Now, are they going to try to do that? I think so, but I don't know when. And I think that they're waiting to what happens here with Donald Trump and Xi Jinping's meeting next week, or is it this week, in Korea. Either way, I think that what we're going to see over the course of the next few weeks is economic instability, volatility within the market. So be prepared for that. With cryptocurrency, who knows what can happen? Just buy the dips. That's all I would recommend. With everything else, don't sell. Buy more. Buy the dip. Never sell off your stash, because that means you lose. If you're on a margin, don't utilize your whole bag for margin. Let's listen to what General Michael Flynn has to say here.
I read a report this morning about shale gas and oil and other commodities that comes out of shale, right? And about a 10-page report, and essentially the gist of the whole thing is about, this is energy capabilities here in the United States of America. The gist is that we are at risk here in the United States of America if we don't start to become far more proactive elsewhere in our country, either the contiguous waters that we have or places where we know there are pockets of energy that we can continue to discover, right? It's not just Texas. It's not just, off the coast of wherever, or California. So the president is going to have a massive America First energy summit.
Oh, what General Flynn is talking about there is that the real battle for the future right now, yes, it's the social construct. Yes, it's narratives. But he who controls the resources is going to control the world. And right now, energy, food, water are the three big ones. And what General Flynn is saying is that we have to start focusing on national resources as a strategic asset for the country specifically. This is going to help us economically, but it's also going to help us in the context of global warfare. Because in the context of global warfare, if we are dependent upon various different resources from other figures around the world, China, rare earth metals and minerals, then we are screwing ourselves in the long game. Just like China's dependent upon the United States of America on a massive amount of resources, the problem is that if those two countries ever went to war, the United States and China, the wars don't last very long unless there's a stockpile of strategic resources. So Flynn is getting to the idea that we need a stockpile of strategic resources, and we need to start treating our natural resources as such. Well, that's interesting because that's the exact move that China just did. When China came out and blocked the approval of sales of rare earth minerals and metals to the majority of the Western states in the world, they did this under the guise of national defense. So now we're seeing a posturing by two massive superpowers in the world in the context of their resource allocation. And don't think for 1 minute that the Trump administration wouldn't utilize eminent domain to go out there and start taking resources and reallocating resources in this country because of a strategic advantage it's going to give them over a foreign nation, because they absolutely will. Excuse me. Which is fascism, totalitarianism, just FYI. No, I know. And, I'll go back. I played this last night. We don't need to go back into it. So David Whitehead, the occult roots of totalitarianism, I had it pulled up here. Go check it out. I said, do you want to know what's happening in the world right now? David absolutely nails it with this breakdown. The domain is psychological. The agenda is controlled through totalitarianism. The methodology is collectivism, and it's happening right now. So give that a listen. Today at the White House, the Presidential Medal of Freedom was awarded posthumously to Charles James Kirk. And Erica Kirk was the one that received it in his honor. The first time ever that a Christian cross was actually inscribed into the back of the Presidential Medal of Freedom. So we got that there. Erica came out and joined Donald Trump in signing a proclamation declaring October 14th as the National Day of Remembrance for Charles Kirk. Now, it's interesting. It's a pretty big deal. Medal of Freedom, Day of Remembrance for him. Charlie Kirk was more than just an average citizen, people. And see, that's what we should all strive towards. I know that all of us cannot be Charlie Kirk, but we should all strive towards that level of merit within society, to understanding the world that we see around us to the highest level that we can capably do it, and going out there and engaging in dialogue, engaging in the public circuit and debates, because that's what helps our country and helps people grow. I love it. Yeah, Michael Hogan says banks are converting their fake money into gold and silver and crypto. And crypto. Anapololuma today. My office just received word from the Russian ambassador to the USA that the ambassador from Russia to the United States will be hand delivering the Russian government's findings on who assassinated JFK to my office. It's a 350-page document, and she'll be uploading them to X as soon as she gets them. That's huge. Now, who is hand delivering it? Kirill Dmitriev, the same person that's in direct contact with General Flynn, the same person that is coordinating, collaborating with Melania, is now coordinating, collaborating with Anna Paula and is handing a 350-page Russian report back from the 1960s of their assessment of who assassinated John F. Kennedy. I think we're going to learn more from this 350 pages than we learned ever from anything released by the U.S. government. I'm almost positive of that. You know, this is actually a good sign. And there's something seriously going wrong at the FBI with the Department of Justice and Kash Patel. I don't know. I'm skeptical. But listen to what Glenn Beck says here, because this actually gives me a little bit of hope.
Last week, I did a TV show that apparently got the FBI's attention. The topic was initial investigation, a jumping off point, shattering the myth that Antifa just, it's just leaderless and decentralized. We thought, no, it's really not. So we dove in head first and we analyzed the Antifa network, and we went from the street thugs to the support groups, eventually to the funding. Okay. To say the FBI was interested in this might be an understatement. Let's just say the FBI is turning over every single stone. It is so clear to me that they are exploring all angles of this, and they are talking to anyone and everyone that can give them any kind of information. How do I know? Saturday, I get a phone call. The director would like to send over some agents to speak to you, Glenn. And I'm like, the FBI agents? Yes, you said some things that they need to talk to you about. And I'm like, Or good things or bad things, they'll be over. So they sat in my living room. 3 agents sat in my living room on Saturday afternoon for almost 2 hours. And I immediately called Jason. I'm like, Jason, you're the researcher. It's your fault. I'm going to throw you under the bus. You better get your butt over here. So Jason was there, and my wife and Jason and I sat there, and it was surreal at one point. I talked to him for about 15 minutes just going over the Tides Foundation and saying, if you understand Tides, you'll understand how difficult your job is going to be. And this is information that I first gave on Fox years ago. Let me just say this. Finally, we have an administration and an FBI director that is willing to go in deep, not surface, but deep. I can only imagine what we could have avoided if anyone in an administration would have done this in 2011.
All right. I think Glenn is at heart a patriot, and it's great that the FBI actually reached out to him. He did an expose on Antifa, Antifa's fundings, the connections from the Tides Foundation to Open Societies Foundation, and the FBI contacted him because the FBI does not have that information. I want you to think about that for a second. That the information that Glenn Beck had on the funneling of money that he got through open source intelligence was better than the paper trail that the FBI had. Should tell you a lot about the FBI and the situation that the FBI is in. Obama was recently in London. Given the UK CIA involvement in the anti-Trump conspiracy masterminded by Obama, would sure be interesting to know whom he met privately with and what was discussed. And I said, I bet Keir Starmer complained that Trump doesn't like him, and Mark Cron was bitching about his hand still hurt. But what is Barack Obama doing in London? You know, Barack Obama doesn't look well. I don't know if you saw this little video interview, and it's not necessarily what he says. He is talking about weaponization or what he believes to be weaponization. But I want you to just take a look at his body language.
You know, we don't want, kangaroo courts and trumped up charges. That's what happens in other places that we used to scold for doing that. We want like our court system and our Justice Department and our prosecutors to be, and our FBI to be just playing things straight and looking at the facts and not meddling in politics the way we've seen lately. And I think if enough people start not just being in a fetal position, but also not worrying about it and detached from it, but being vigilant, but also saying, you know what, we can stand up to this,
So firstly, he's calling for people to rise up against him. But I want you to notice his body language. His arms are crossed, legs are crossed. He mentioned his fetal position. He is projecting fear when he's talking about this topic. He is projecting fear. He is scared. Why was he in London? He's in London because they need a war. They need chaos. They need the John Podesta plan to be put into action. And I don't usually sit there and replicate Alex Jones talking points, but Alex Jones is actually onto something with the Civil War movie John Podesta plan and inciting a civil war. How do I know? Because it's not Alex Jones's idea. I've been talking about it for 5 freaking years. It's called the Firestorm. Everything that Alex Jones is saying right now about the John Podesta plan, and John Podesta came up with that in like 2022, 2023. I've been talking about since November of 2020. It is the 5-point firestorm. It's the reinfiltration of the social construct, taking over the narrative, inciting violence and rage through those that you've manipulated, getting them to rise up to protest, having various different bad actors, sleeper cells within those protests that basically start the cities on fire. Martial law comes about. And then that's where the tides of manipulation start to turn. Economic collapse begins to happen. At the same time, you have global warfare that breaks out. You have 3 regional conflicts that turn in to an all-fronted war by all different ends that come incorporated. You have mass global confusion and chaos all at the same point in time, and that's when assassinations come. That's when regime changes come. That's when coups occur. This is what they are trying for. This is what they want. And so be warned, because this is the play of action that they are moving towards. It is the last play that they have. This is why we're seeing the massive preparation from the Trump administration to get ready for that chess move that the deep state, the globalists, are actually going to play. So we get news today that the Russian army has attacked a UN convoy with humanitarian aid trucks in southern Ukraine. Russian drones and artillery attacked the 4 trucks of the United Nations Office of the Coordination of Humanitarian Affairs near Kherson this morning. Russia denies it. The reason Russia denied it is because Russia didn't do it. It's just a false flag. You know, you have to understand, NATO wants to engage Article 5. They want the United States and Russia to go into a conflict. They want to get into the conflict because they need that chaos, exactly what we've been talking about. Now, is this going to prompt it? Very potentially, they could turn this on Russia if they wanted to, but I don't think it's going to escalate it. But what they're doing is they're going to do a system of narrative control. So you have the drones over Poland, you have the drones over the airports throughout the EU, you have the decimation of the humanitarian truck of the UN. It's these small little things that build up to when they go to an Article 5 vote, they bring all of these things out, even though they're untrue and they're not directly associated to Russia and they were false flags. They bring them all up as the precedent of why NATO needs to engage Russia. That's what's being set up right now. NATO's chief route, China could push Russia to strike NATO. For example, China could move against Taiwan. It's highly likely that China will force a junior partner in that relationship, being Russia under the leadership of Vladimir Putin, to move against NATO here to keep us busy. For all these reasons, we have to make sure that we work as strongly together with them. And then on the hybrid threats, this is, of course, a big worry, and we are working on that as well. I responded to this. I said, who the fuck is this guy getting his intelligence from? He's an absolute moron. Number one is China is not going to pressure Russia into doing anything. China is waiting for their moment. If they're going to pressure any subsidiary country, third world country, it's going to be North Korea because they have direct leverage over them. Russia is just way too big of a monster for China to control. Economically, yeah, I can understand it, but governmentally, not very much. Russia actually has very less Chinese influence than many, even the EU countries. I mean, the EU is more infiltrated by China than Russia ever was. Now, China could easily go out there and pressure North Korea to strike South Korea, which then would give them the promulgation to go into Taiwan, because that's going to keep NATO and the U.S. busy when that happens. But do I see that that's going to happen? I don't think so. Number one is that China is going through a lot of socioeconomic as well as political changes right now. Like I said, I'm pretty sure that Xi Jinping is just a front man, and he's been removed from power, which means that they're not in the position right now to engage in global warfare or even regional warfare. Russia itself has been at war for 5 years, and don't get me wrong, they really have not exhausted much of their military prowess over the last 5 years, but Russia is really wanting to probably end war because they cannot sustain it for another 2 to 3 years. The United States, the last thing that they want is to get engaged with any wars anywhere, and because they've got their focus on Venezuela. Europe, on the other side, the EU is failing. The EU is getting ready to collapse. Economically, they are absolute shit. The euro is worthless, and they need a massive crisis. They need a world war in order to save face and reset the clock, the Great Reset. So we could see stuff coming out of Europe that actually promulgates this. Now, I am not anti-Israel, and I'll state that for the record. I am not anti-Israel. I'm not anti-Jew. I don't deny the people of Israel or any of this stuff. I don't like Netanyahu. I think Netanyahu's a warmonger. I believe that Netanyahu allowed October 7th to happen. Why do I say that? Because the evidence actually aligns with it, and the dissent actually agrees with me on that. Listen to that. You personally initiated Qatar's money transfer to Hamas. Together with Mohammed Al-Ahmadi, you bear responsibility for it. That was your personal order. In 2020, you sent Mossad chief Yossi Cohen along with Herzi Halavi to Qatar in order to increase the amount of Qatari money. It's $30 million. So why are you against the governmental commission? Because you know that all the meetings are recorded in the minutes word for word. So in other words, what they're saying is that we know that Netanyahu funneled $30 million through Qatar to Hamas in the months preceding the October 7th attacks. We know that there was a problem with the security that day on October 7th, almost like a stand-down order. Charlie Kirk even tried to expose this. Netanyahu and his administration are not allowing for formal investigations into the October 7th attacks. Donald Trump has even said that you have to have an investigation into this. It will be the end of Netanyahu because many people believe that he allowed the October 7th attacks to happen and occur so that he could save and secure power and stay in power. Now, whether that's true or not, I don't know his intentions of what happened, but the money trail does align with what a lot of people in Israel are actually saying. We had a potential violation of the ceasefire agreement. A few Palestinians crossed a yellow line and were shot and killed by Israel. I don't understand why you shoot and kill right at the day after the ceasefire. You shoot and kill 5 unarmed people, but it happened. Nothing seems to have come from it. It doesn't seem to have violated the ceasefire. Hamas isn't making a big deal out of it, and either is Israel. So the world moves on. Yeah, the people are absolutely against Netanyahu in Israel. I 100% agree. They are ready for change as well. I look at Netanyahu kind of very similar to Dick Cheney. Like, think about if Dick Cheney was president. That's Netanyahu in Israel. That's my opinion. Few things. Thursday Q&A. Make sure you're a subscriber over on any of our premium channels, our premium memberships, as well as tonight, DEF CON 0, and 30 minutes from now, DEF CON 0. If you like our music and want to get a copy of that, it is available on Google Music, Android Music. It's available on the iTunes Store. You just type in Dark Delight album. You should be able to find it. It's the band name is Guardians of Truth. And you can find that on iTunes if you wanted to get that on your iPhone, or if you wanted to get on your Android, you can also find it out there. It's on YouTube Music. So you can find all of that music out there and all of the official stores that you can find it at. You can just search Guardians of Truth, Dark Delight. There Was a Time, The Great Awakening. You should be able to find it. If you just want to go purchase it directly from us, right there, redpillsmusic.com. redpillsmusic.com. For those out there that typically listen to our audio podcast, we have been suspended on a lot of our podcast platforms. And so we distribute from one platform. We're suspended on that platform, so we can't distribute to the other platforms. I'm going to try to get them to release that so we can get it back up here in the next few days. And we'll start posting those again. So sorry about that, but you can literally go onto YouTube or any of these other channels and listen to us there. Other than that, guys, I think that's it. I'm going to leave you out with my favorite song and our new outro song. I'm going to have to fit this into an outro so I don't have to keep on playing this. But thank you for all the Rumble rants that came in. Thank you guys for all the support. And I appreciate you guys. And remember, keep that head on a swivel. And Romans 12:2. Never conform to the patterns of this world, but be transformed by the renewal of your mind. I'll see you guys on DEF CON 0. Much love, respect. God bless. Take care.
time when our children stood tall, hand on their hearts, one voice for all. There was a time when honor had weight, when the flag was a symbol, not a debate. There was a time when our history was known, with pride in the rules that made us our own. There was a time, respect for the brave, for those who bled, for the lives they gave. Now the homeland burns to silent war. Truth is twisted, we can't ignore. Through the smoke, a voice still calls. We the people will not fall. There was a time, but the time isn't near. The great awakening is here. Dark to light, veil under. Patriots rise, we are one. Land of the free, home of the brave. No more silence, no more slaves. Answer the call, take back the fight. Children of freedom, stand for the light. There was a time when truth was clear, when the media served, not ruled by fear. There was a time when leaders stood fast, guarding the people, defending the past. Now corruption wears a crown, lies are fed to tear us down. But Q said watch, and Q said see. The silent war will set us free. From the front lines, soldiers stare, wondering if we're still there. Their blood, their hope, their sacrifice will not be sold for a life's prize. There was a time, but the time isn't near. The great awakening is here. Dark to light, the veil undone. Patriots rise, we are one. Land of the free, home of the brave. No more silence, no more slaves. Answer the call, take back the fight. Children of freedom, stand for the light. Freedom is never more than one generation away from extinction. It must be fought for, protected, and handed on. Or we will spend our sunset years telling our children what it was once like in the United States where men were free. There was a time, the time is near. The great awakening is here. Dark to light, veil undone. Patriots rise, we are one. Land of the free, home of the brave. No more silence, no more slaves. Answer the call, take back the fight. Children of freedom, stand for the light. There was a time, there was a time. Now is the time. Do it.
I don't have to tell you things are bad. Everybody knows things are bad. The air is unfit to breathe, and our food is unfit to eat. I don't know what to do about the depression and the inflation. I want you to get mad.
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass. And I'm all out of bubblegum.
People should not be afraid of their governments. Governments should be afraid of their people.
The more you fuck around, the more you're going to find out.
These people are still a part of that system, and that makes them our enemy.
We accept the reality of the world with which we're presented. It's as simple as that.
I want you to get up right now and go to the window, open it, and stick your head out and yell, I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not going to take this anymore!